Okay, so you're thinking about applying for a grant, right? From the Estates Committee in Israel.
Yeah.
And we're here to kind of walk you through it. We've got a few things. We've got the Estates Committee's call for papers for 2025.
Okay.
We've got some insights from someone who's actually applied and been through the process before.
Oh, great.
And then a bunch of just like guidelines and explanations and all that.
That sounds really helpful.
So hopefully this will help equip you to make the best decision for your application.
So this Estates Committee, what is that exactly?
Yeah. So basically the Estates Committee is a public body here in Israel, and it manages funds.
Okay.
That come from inheritances and donations.
Wow, interesting.
So it's actually not government money.
So it's private money.
It's private money that's been entrusted to the government.
Yeah.
To basically distribute for the benefit of the community and the country.
I see. So they're kind of like a manager of this big fund.
Exactly. Yeah. Like a giant philanthropic trust fund. But it's run by the government.
That's pretty unique.
Yeah.
That is.
And, they're dedicated to supporting all sorts of causes, from social welfare to education to arts and culture.
So it's a pretty wide range.
Yeah, it's pretty broad. Now, I think one of the most interesting things that this person who had experience with the Estates Committee mentioned was just really understanding how they fund projects.
Okay, so what did they say?
So they said that the Estates Committee, they only fund up to 50% of a project's total cost.
So you need to have the other 50% secured from somewhere else.
Yeah, and they were very clear that you need to have that secured before you apply.
Oh, okay.
So you can't be like, oh, yeah, we'll get that other half.
Yeah. No, you have to have it ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is, even if you get approved for the funding, it might not arrive until like 6 months after the project's complete.
Oh, wow. So there's a lag time there.
There's a big lag.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind in terms of like budgeting and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then the other thing was, think strategically about which specific estate fund you're going to target.
Oh, okay. So it's not enough to just find a cause that matches your project.
Yeah, you have to think about who else might apply to that same fund.
Oh, I see.
And what their projects are like, because
You're competing.
You're competing, yeah.
Yeah.
So understanding those dynamics can be really important.
Okay. So let's talk about these funds a bit more. What kind of estates are we talking about here?
Yeah, so they generally publish two types of estates. The first is what they call priority estates.
Priority estates. Okay.
And those are aligned with the government's priorities for the year. So for 2025, there's a focus on mental health support for those impacted by the war.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then also supporting youth-facing social difficulties.
So if your project falls under one of those categories, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good starting point. And then the other category is designated estates.
Designated estates.
Yeah, and those are dedicated to very specific causes
Okay.
that were outlined by the deceased.
I see. So that's where it gets a little more niche.
Yeah, like there's one for over 5 million shekels to assist orphans.
Wow.
Over 2 million shekels for disabled IDF veterans. And then there's even ones that are like hyper-specific.
Yep.
Like there's one for a kindergarten near 15 Rashi Street in Kiryat Motzkin.
Wow, that's very specific.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you've identified a fund that's a perfect match for your project. What's next? What does the application process look like?
Yeah, so the entire process is done online through a system called Yell.
Yeah. Okay.
And the person who had experience with this really stressed attention to detail.
I see.
Like accuracy is crucial because even a small technical error can get your application rejected.
So we need to be really careful.
Yeah.
Dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
Yeah, they actually give you a checklist and a list of common technical errors.
Oh, okay.
So it's definitely worth familiarizing yourself with those.
Right.
And then there's also a really helpful guide for filling out the application form.
Okay.
So definitely take advantage of that. And one important thing to remember is the whole application has to be in Hebrew.
Oh, of course. So we'll need to brush up on our Hebrew if we need to.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about the money, the financial stuff.
Yeah, because that can be pretty tricky too.
Yeah. The the person we were talking about earlier really stressed how important it is to really get a grasp on the Estates Committee's financial regulations.
Yeah.
And all the requirements.
Because if you mess us up.
Because if you don't follow them, you'll get rejected automatically.
Yeah, for sure.
So there are some things to watch out for.
Like Like what? Like red flags?
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, if your organization's annual revenue, right, if it's less than 100,000 shekels, that's it.
Yeah.
Automatic disqualification.
I guess they want to see that you're actually doing something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing is accumulated surplus.
Okay.
So if your surplus is more than 1/3 of your annual turnover.
So they don't want you to be like hoarding cash, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, if you have a deficit of more than 50% of your annual revenue, that can also be a problem.
So it's finding that sweet spot between being financially healthy, but also actively using your money.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, of course, administrative costs,
Yeah.
There are limits on how much you can spend, set by the accountant general.
Yeah.
Exceeding those limits can also get you rejected.
This all seems pretty complicated. Sounds like it would be really important to talk to an accountant who specializes in nonprofit.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
They can help you with all this.
Navigate it. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure your application is good.
Okay, so what else, besides all the financial stuff, what else should we keep in mind?
Well, you really need to write a good project description.
Yeah.
Something that's clear, something that's compelling.
And like explain why it matters, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Like what's the social impact and how does it connect to the estate that you're applying for?
Right.
Now, if your project involves research, you have to submit this other form, a research proposal form.
Oh, okay. More paperwork.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Now, this is important. If you're asking for support for scholarships, or if you're distributing equipment, you'll probably need to show that there's a need.
Oh, okay. So like proof.
Yeah, from social services or some other relevant authority.
So you can't just be like, oh yeah, my friend needs a scholarship.
Right, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Let's see. Oh, if your project is like renovating something or replacing equipment, you need to show
like pictures.
Yeah.
Before and after, kind of.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
You really want to show the current situation. Now, of course, if you're talking about, building something.
Like a whole building.
Yeah, you need permits, obviously.
Right.
And you need to prove that you own the land.
Ah, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Or that you have the right to use it.
All the legal stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but it's all there to make sure the money's being used properly,
Yeah. And ultimately for good causes, right?
Right.
This has been so helpful, really.
Glad to hear it. Hopefully it'll help you out with your application.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just sort of recap, the key takeaways for everyone listening.
Okay, sounds good.
So this is a really cool opportunity
to get funding for, all sorts of projects.
Yeah.
That are for the benefit of society.
Right.
But it's important to really understand how it all works.
Yeah.
So that 50% funding structure, that's really important.
Definitely. Make sure you have that other 50% ready to go.
Yeah. And even if they say, yes, you're approved,
you might have to wait a while.
You got to wait like 6 months.
6 months.
After your project's done.
Yeah, so you got to plan ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And then that whole thing about, choosing the right estate fund.
Right.
To apply to, that's more than just, oh, this cause matches my project.
Yeah. Think about who else might apply to that same fund.
Yeah.
Really scope out the competition.
Yeah. And then, of course, pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
When you're filling out the application.
Accuracy is key.
Yeah.
Don't want to get rejected because of some small technicality.
Yeah. And definitely work with a good accountant.
Yeah. Someone who knows nonprofits. Yeah.
Who can help you navigate all the financial rules.
Right. All that stuff.
And really, I think the key thing is to tell a good story,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And your project description.
That's your chance to really sell your project.
Yeah. And explain why it's important.
Exactly. Yeah. Makes them care.
Yeah. So this deep dive has given you, hopefully a good starting point. But as you start working on your application, think about like what makes your organization special.
Yeah. What makes your project stand out from the crowd?
Yeah. What's unique about it?
Because at the end of the day, these funds they're a legacy of generosity, right?
Yeah.
And you have a chance to be a part of that.
Yeah.
To continue that legacy.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Everything you need to apply for an estates committee grant.
Good luck with your application.
Yeah, good luck, everybody. So dive into those materials, get started, and let's make a difference.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
It's been fun.
Yeah. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep making the world a better place.
See you next time.